Do you want to know why you hate one-to-one supervision meetings, or why you put them off, or you dread them, or when you do them, you feel like something's missing or it's hard to get going? It's because you've never been taught how to effectively keep track of those meetings from one meeting to the next. You were never taught how to run a good one-to-one meeting. You were never taught how to have a good agenda at a one-to-one meeting. And you probably weren't taught how to make notes from those one-to-one meetings. So they happen sporadically. You show up at the meeting and you missed the notes from the last meeting, or you aren't sure what you talked about last time, or you've totally forgotten about it. And then those things that you wanted to address get forgotten or subconsciously forgotten. And then they fester and build, and then they become a big problem. So then you put off the next meeting, or you just forget about it and it just doesn't get brought up. And all of a sudden you're like, hey, didn't we talk about that 3 months ago? Where's that at? You feel discombobulated. You feel like there's no through thread through all of your meetings. There's no consistency and there's no pattern for you to keep track of what you talked about, when you talked about, what you expect to happen, the tasks that were assigned. There's no system. Or the system you're using is cumbersome or ineffective, or you're not using it. And when you feel like that, you lack the confidence to have regularly scheduled meetings. You lack the confidence that those meetings are actually effective when you do have them. And so that leads to this general erosion of how you feel about yourself as a leader, how you feel about those one-to-one meetings, and the effectiveness of your ability to grow your nonprofit staff. And so you put them off, and then they stack up, and then it weighs on your shoulders and you feel guilty, or it just kind of morphs into this stress that is another thing on your to-do list that keeps building and building and building. So what do? You pause. You step back and you look at what's going on. And one of the big things behind these meetings, again, is this lack of a system to help you keep track of what you talked about. So I'm going to teach you quickly just a 3-part framework to help you have effective supervision meeting notes. Part 1, you need a shared document. This isn't you taking notes or the staff taking notes or you taking notes and hiding them in their personnel file. This is about you and the employee working together on the files, on the work that they're doing, and on them as an employee and as a person and how they're growing and developing. It's not something to hide. It's something to work on together. So a shared Google Doc, a shared Microsoft Doc, whatever it is, but a shared doc that you both have access to, that you can both put information on. In my membership site, the training library, I have a course, Staff Supervision That Trains. I have a document just like this that my students use. You create this document with a few key headlines or areas. Maybe you're talking about clients, maybe you're talking about community work, maybe you're talking about their goals, but you have the same sort of agenda items each week or each month, however frequently you meet, that you're talking about. That shared document, whether you fill it in during the conversation or after the conversation, allows you to both add to it, go back and look at it and figure out what you need to do or what you said you're going to do, but it keeps that through thread throughout the conversation. So if you've addressed something like paperwork being late, you can say, hey, we talked about it in April and we talked about it in January, and here now we're in May and we're talking about it again. We're not quite addressing the issue. So let's look at what we tried and what the next thing is that we're going to work on or figure out, or what's the fix for this. But it gives you that ability to not just kind of go back in your head and go like, I'm sure we talked about this, or for them to go, I don't remember talking about this, because you've got it written down in a document that you are both seeing. But even more than that, it's about their growth and development. You can talk about, we're working on this skill, or you're taking this course, or this is the thing that you're developing. And you can see that, because sometimes that's the part of the conversation that we forget. We talk about the work, but we forget to talk about the person doing the work. The second part of this framework is really about what it is that you're taking down for notes. Here's the challenge. Many of us are writing copious notes about from that meeting, and it's like this long running list of everything that happened. And really it's about covering our butts. And that's not helpful to them or to us. Or we don't put anything. We write nothing. And then, like I say, there's nothing through it. So bullet points, key items, and here's what I want you to make note of. Actions that need to be taken, by whom and by when. The directions you gave. This is a shift we're doing. This is something I want you to take care of. Something that's instruction that needs to be noted so that you can follow up on it. And then any clarification. Maybe you've shifted the way you've been giving them instructions or changed something. Just if there's anything that you both want to make note of so that you can come back to it and go, this is what we agreed to. And that's it. You don't need to take copious notes. And then the third part, have it as a consistent calendar reminder so that you don't have to decide when you're going to book it, how you're going to book it, where it's going to fit in. It is a consistent, reoccurring calendar reminder for you and for them. It's in both your calendars. If you use Google Calendar, that works great. If you use Outlook, it'll work too. Just that shared, reoccurring meeting. If for some reason you can't have that meeting and you have to cancel it, don't cancel it. Reschedule it. It is not okay to cancel. It is okay to rebook. Kind of have that mantra in your head for both you and for the employee. So a shared document, bullet point notes, and reoccurring calendar event. When you start doing that, you're going to start feeling more confident about your ability to have meetings. But here's the thing. This is not just about one-to-one supervision. This is about everything you do as a leader. You probably weren't taught how to do it. You were taught that you needed to do it, but when you moved from frontline into leadership, you were given this binder. You need to figure out the budget. You need to figure out the scheduling. You need to have supervisions. You need to have staff meetings. You need to do performance appraisals, but nobody taught you how to do those effectively, to have the tough conversations, to figure out how to prioritize all of those tasks because there's way too many, to figure out how to navigate your emotions during all of that. And that's why you lack the confidence to do your job, why you feel overwhelmed sometimes and you're drowning in all of the work and you don't know what to prioritize because everything's a priority. And you get into these meetings and you don't know how to have these difficult conversations because no one ever taught you how. If you're going to feel confident in your role, you need to first be competent. You need to first have the skills, be taught the skills, learn the skills, practice the skills. Competence comes before confidence. And if you don't have the skills, it's your job to pause and step back and go, what do I need to learn? What are the things that I missed when I moved into leadership that I just don't know how to do or don't know how to do well or don't even know if what I'm doing is well or not well? What are the skills you need to learn? It may be around that time management or energy management, as I like to talk about, or prioritization. Maybe you've never learned how to prioritize when everything's a priority. Maybe you haven't learned how to have those difficult conversations. Maybe you haven't learned how to have enough energy to sustain all that it is that you're required to do. Those are things that we're not taught. And when we lack those skills, we lack confidence to lead. So if you're struggling as a leader, the first thing you need to do is step back and look at what do I need to learn. That's going to help you build the confidence to lead. If you're looking for help with that, and if this has been helpful, you may want to grab my book, Mastering Confidence. Confidence starts with competence. If you've never been taught how to do effective supervision meetings, then it's not your fault. It's not something you can't learn, but it's why you're struggling to have those consistently and effectively. Figure out how to have effective supervision meetings, and you're going to feel way more confident as a leader, and you're going to grow your staff exponentially. And if you want a 3-part framework to have those difficult conversations, watch this next. Go make the rest of your day awesome.